Well, hello and good evening, and welcome to We Drink and We Know Things. We're back. Last week we were on hiatus because of Father's Day. I took you out for dinner, father of my fur babies.
Yeah,
So,
nice.
yeah, so we went out for dinner and enjoyed and had a nice evening. And tonight we're here because the next 2 weeks we won't be here. Next Sunday is the 4th of July, and we are going to our friend's house for a picnic. And then the following Sunday, we will be in Nantucket on vacation for the first time in about 3 years, I think. Yeah, it's been about 3 years.
Drink to that.
There you go. Good job. Here, let's cheers to that. There you go. He's drinking a Yingling Light, and I'm drinking a Corona Premier. Yeah.
So, not very interesting.
No, not interesting at all tonight, but necessary for me. I need to get my weight under control. Holy crap.
Me too.
Finally stepped on the scale this morning and I almost killed myself. Yeah, so I'm being a very good girl today, and I'm starting my new diet straight on, and yeah, I need to at least lose some of this weight before I go back to school in person in September. So I'm hoping that in 2 months and a week or two, I can take at least some of this weight off. Oh, God. Wow. It's weird, though. We talked about this, and this is not anything to do with our articles that we were going to talk about, but we realized that sizes and fashions and shit like that change a lot. And also, just because you weigh a certain amount doesn't mean your body is the body composition is totally wrong. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I told Kevin when I got on the scale today and again wanted to kill myself, I am only about 10 pounds less than the largest I have ever been in my life. And that was back in 1991, I think. But I remember pictures. I have pictures. I just haven't pulled them up yet. But I have pictures of me back then. And I was way bigger than I look now. 10 pounds heavier, but I mean, it's really difficult to, I think my body has put weight on in spots different from when I was 21, I think. And clothes. So way back, 10 pounds heavier than I am now, back in 1991, I was in like a size 22. And I'm nowhere near that. Like I'm like size 16. So that's 3 different. I mean, 10 pounds is not put on 3 sizes. So I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what's different with my body, what's different with today's fashion industry, or what. I don't know. It's very, very crazy. Hey, Kit. Oh, congratulations on the 12 pounds loss. That's awesome. And you go,
Nice.
girl. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you caught. I'm literally drinking a very light beer. That's my only drink for today. That's it. A Corona Premier. Low carb and everything else. So pictures lie, but they sure do stress me out. So yeah, time to get my shit together. So we'll see. I've tried keto and I lost weight on that, and then I stalled. And my first time that I lost a lot of, not my first time, but one of the best times I lost weight was on Weight Watchers. And I tried that again a couple years ago, and it just didn't work for me. And I realized, like the portion size thing, because they have a lot of these 0-point items. So like, you can load up on all these things, but like really you can't. Like you can eat all the chicken breasts you want. Like you could literally gorge yourself on them. not going to make me lose weight because there's a 0 points, right? But I mean, I think I've kind of, gotten my feet under me now, and I think we'll see. I'm hoping we're gonna keep that in the ideas. So Kevin must be telling me it's time to move on because he's taken over my computer and is scrolling through articles. Are we starting with
I'm
one
just
of
reading while
yours,
you're
or
talking.
you want to start with one of yours or one of mine?
It doesn't matter to me.
Well, you've already got the mouse and all that, so you might as well copy and paste that article in the thing while you're doing that. So Kit says she had 7 bottles of water a day and sweat it all out. Now drinking iced tea. I wish Kevin wouldn't have put that in face. I wish you luck with the dieting things. Thanks, Kit. Yeah, I've been drinking a lot of water. So that's good too. It's just slow but steady wins the race. I know it's annoying. So our first article this week is this company is putting face tracking ad tablets in the back of Ubers. What? As drivers struggle to make ends meet, companies are eager to take advantage of the situation. So you should start about this because this is your article and I need to glance over it because I don't know what's going on with this.
Yeah, I didn't think you heard about this.
No.
So there's a advertising company, I believe, and they're doing this. It's in a lot of it's in 10,000 Uber and Lyft.
That's a lot.
So it's not in traditional taxis, but in Uber Lyft taxis. They're putting it in the back. If you've ever been in I know definitely New York taxis do this, where they have that screen in the back that does ads and shit.
Yeah.
That's what they're adding to
Gotcha.
Uber and Lyft, but it also includes cameras with facial recognition.
That's not cool.
And so it does a few things. One, it does advertising, and a portion of that advertising proceeds goes to the driver.
Well,
so that incentivizes
cool.
the driver to have this thing and have it
Right.
running. But it also tracks the passenger. I don't remember exactly what it is tracking, but I think it's mostly for ad reasons. So if you get in the car and it looks like you're a
25-year-old female wearing Gucci sunglasses and you're going to go through an airport, then everything is going to be curated for that person. That's horrible.
Yep.
Wow. So, I mean, part of it I understand. Like I said, so instead of seeing ads for retirement homes or ads for wheelchairs, which are not relevant to the 25-year-old female, instead, you're seeing ladies' fashionable wear and designer sunglasses specifically curated for you. So I guess if I had to watch ads, I would prefer that they were actually pertinent to me. But I mean, when I'm in the back of a cab, I don't look at that anyhow. We actually mute it. You can't turn it completely off.
But how do they know that it's pertinent to you, or it is stereotyping?
Well, yeah, they're looking at an image of you and they're stereotyping you. Yeah, exactly. Like they may look at me and think that I want ads about I don't know,
gutter cleaning.
Gutter cleaning. And I don't, right? Yeah, and Kit's right. Like, what if you borrowed someone else's, you borrowed their clothes or whatever? Like, what if you're going somewhere really fancy, right? So you're dressed up way more than you normally would, or the vice versa. Like, what if you're I don't know, slumming or whatever? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, how do they?
Well, this is very much how a lot of advertising works online today, except it's not through facial recognition. It knows you through other means, because it looks at other things that you already look at, or it's connected to social media profiles you have. So it's similar in that sense because it's personalizing it based on what it knows about you, but it's a little creepier because it's doing with a camera and profiling you based on what you look like, instead of what your behavior necessarily.
Right. So I might get in the car and I might get ads for Billy Joel albums, and maybe I want to listen to Jay-Z or something, or Beyonce. Think about that. It's gonna be racist. How can it not? Oh, it's a white female, or it's a black male, or
I wouldn't even necessarily. I mean, maybe it could be racist, but I think it's mostly just going to be stereotyping.
All right, stereotypical. All right. Yeah.
Right. It's
not racist, stereotyping. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be like whenever you see someone and pass judgment based on the way they look within a few minutes.
Yeah, probably seconds.
Yeah.
Ugh, great. Love all the technology that's coming.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's any way to opt out of it. And so they're going to have your picture And
Yeah, that's
then
not cool.
so now the next time you get in,
So wear
we'll
big
show you
dark
something
sunglasses
else,
and a
or
floppy hat, and put a mask on because COVID. There you
yeah,
go. Ugh, unbelievable.
spell
Yeah,
on that one, but
a
yeah,
kid said like, best way to avoid it is don't use Uber, and that's true.
yeah,
But the problem, like if you're in the city, some of the boroughs, like so, like Manhattan, you can like almost always catch a cab. That's not a problem. But like when you get into like Brooklyn or the Bronx or Queens, especially Staten Island, it is not almost impossible, depending on where, to get to hail a taxi. And so you have to kind of, use an Uber app or a Lyft app. That's part of the problem. Like at my school, like if I don't want to, if I have like something like large that I have to take home and I don't want to lug it on the train, I have to call an Uber. Like I can't, we can't get cabs there in front of my school.
you can take public transit, but
I just said if I don't want to, I have something large and I'm not
yeah,
lugging it on the train.
that's the problem.
Yeah. Ick. Great.
Or you get delivered, but that's a whole
Yeah.
other problem.
What is this article? This looks. Oh, this is the London Underground.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel better about that. I was like, who cares about YouTube? And I'm like, oh, I see. Okay, so
It's the tube, not YouTube.
yes. So it says Mayor fulfills commitment and confirms high-speed mobile coverage across the tube network. So for those of you who are not familiar with living in larger cities, of course, you have the subways, right? Well, in London, the subway, the underground, is called the tube. And they've been trying to get this in New York City for a long time to get like cell service and
They added
whatever
it
in some
like
stations.
couple
Yeah,
years ago.
you can get it in some places, but you can't get it like in the middle of if you're in the tunnels, you don't get
No,
it.
no.
So is that what this is doing?
I don't think they're putting it in the tunnels, but they're definitely putting it in stations. And so it's interesting to see that they definitely seem to be behind New York. They're one of the last. What did it say there? It's one of the last like big metropolitan cities to get mobile coverage on in public transit. This is like one of the last instances of this. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
I mean, considering London was the first city to have a subway.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of important. It says uninterrupted 4G mobile coverage has already been introduced on the eastern half of the Jubilee line. It'll be expanded in phases to ticket halls, platforms, and tunnels on the tube network and tunnels. So it's definitely going into the tunnels. Yeah.
So that's something that New York doesn't have.
No, definitely not. Well, that's good. Allow them to check the latest travel information, keep on top of their emails. Well, I mean, that to me, that's silly stuff because that's like between stop. Like, do you really need to look at your email like between stops? Like, calm down. But I'm more concerned about like you're stuck underground in a tunnel because something happened and the train's just sitting there and now you can't contact your boss or your boyfriend or your spouse or whatever to let them know something's going on. We're stuck. I'm going to be late.
Yeah.
That's where it's more helpful.
The next half of this is that they're using the tube tunnels. Oh yeah, so the stuff's gonna go through tunnels because they're using the tube tunnels to provide full fiber connectivity across the city.
Wow.
Be connected
And
to
then
buildings and streets.
like street lighting. Oh
Yeah.
wow, and bus stops. That's kind of crazy. Yeah. So that increases the mobile coverage through small mobile transmitters as well as leveraging the power of 5G to deliver citywide improvements and future growth. That's awesome. Unless you're one of those crazies who think that 5G is gonna spawn Satan out of your head. Yeah, and I agree, Kit. With all of the technology we have, with everything going on, why are there still dead zones? And we're not even talking about dead zones in like very sparsely populated places like say Wyoming, right? Or North Dakota or whatever. We're talking like literally, oops, I just bumped the microphone. Sorry. Very professional here. Literally here at our house, we can't get cell service with T-Mobile, except for you managed to get a signal booster or something like that, right? That they gave us.
A lot of
Yeah.
so coming from so I worked in for various cell phone companies for years. It's been like pushing 15 years since I did that, but one of the reasons back then, and I'm sure still the reason now, is mostly political reasons. A lot of local governments don't want cell towers in their city, in their downtown, in the municipal area, or In the case of where we are, we're in a private community, so it might require permission from the private community. Someone might even have to go ask for it. Like it's not, despite what you might think, the mission of these cell phone companies is not necessarily to provide like wall to wall, tree to tree coverage of service. It doesn't really work like that. They originally started by covering roadways. So if you live by like a major road, you're probably fine. But if you don't, then you're gonna have problems.
Or if you leave that major roadway, if you head somewhere else deeper in, yeah.
Yeah, well, no, you're not by the major roadway anymore.
It's just it's annoying. But you know what?
Because think about how it originally started, right? It was originally like the mobile phones were, for at least for the civilians, were originally car phones.
Mm-hmm.
So you wanted your car phone to work when you break down. That was like the big selling point originally.
Right.
Like
so
in the
it would
90s,
be
whatever.
along the main roads.
So it would be on roadways, not like nobody at that time. Nobody cared if you had cell coverage at your house,
Right, because you have your landline.
because you have your house phone. But
It's been a long time since I had a house phone. Since I moved, so my first year in New York when I moved to Brooklyn. So I've been there 17 years. So it's been 16 years since I've had a landline.
I know I remember my parents insisting that you need to have it.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people, to save money, they'd switch over to getting their land phone service through the cable company.
Yeah.
But then you lost the reliability of because it used to be that your phone would work
If the power went
out,
out.
because phone lines had separate source of power.
Yep.
But if you move it to the cable network, or even if you have a cordless phone, when the cordless phone's great. Oh, except when there's no power.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you lose all of that
Yeah.
redundancy or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, Kit, good for you, Kit, too. 8 years without landlines. Awesome.
Nice.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad London's moving faster than New York. Everything moves faster than New York City, except for the crime and the shit that's going on. But, this is the other article you wanted to talk about. I found it's a version of it anyhow.
Oh, this might take a little while to talk about.
So that's okay. So this is interesting, and this might strike Kit a little bit because of KJ. I know she's not a cheerleader, but she's in other things. She's in the band and she's in theater and all that. And so just take away the idea that it was a cheerleader and, substitute with any high school, kid, right?
Program, yeah.
Yeah. So you want to sum up what happened or what?
Okay. So this girl, I don't know what grade she was in at the time, but
we
she
were
was
guessing
auditioning.
she's in 10th
Yeah, we
grade
thought she was
because
in
she
10th
was
grade,
going
going
for
on
junior
11.
varsity. Yeah,
Oh, it was junior varsity. Okay.
I think so. Or was it varsity?
I don't remember.
Now I gotta look.
But she was auditioning or trying out. She said
Trying out.
she was trying out for cheerleader, varsity, junior varsity.
Oh, it was varsity. So I'm gonna say she was probably well, I think you can be on varsity if you're a junior. So she's probably 10th grade at least, 10th or 11th grade.
Yeah. And she's involved in cheerleading. She's involved in softball or
Yeah, softball.
softball. And she did the tryout and she didn't make it, and she got really annoyed, as anybody might do.
Oh.
when
Oh, never mind. She was 14 and a freshman. There we go. Sorry.
she's a freshman.
At Mahanoy area, and this is in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
And she let out her frustration through Snapchat, and sent this message to her 250 followers. And I've never really used Snapchat, but I know it's not exactly public. You can't just see anyone's messages like Twitter,
Right.
right? It's a little bit more closed. You have to be their contact or whatever.
Right.
So anyway, she sent this message that basically said like, fuck school, fuck softball, fuck cheerleading, fuck everything. And she sent this completely off campus.
Yeah.
But the school freaked out when one of the students she sent this to showed it to like their parent.
Yeah.
And then they brought it to the
Coaches
cheerleading squad
first, yeah,
coach.
to the softball coach and to the cheerleading squad coach, yeah. Oh, and so it says here, so the coaches decided that she violated team and school rules governing student conduct, and she was suspended from the cheerleading squad for her whole sophomore year. And then Levy's, that's the girl, parents tried appealing to the school and the district officials to reconsider the punishment, and they said nope. And so then they said, well, fuck this. And they filed a federal lawsuit saying that it was violating their daughter's free speech rights. And because it was off campus too. Like she didn't do this in school. She didn't do this, during the school day. Like she was outside of school, did this, and she's still being punished for it.
Yeah.
So it went through Pennsylvania's courts. The federal district court in Pennsylvania actually, sided with her and her parents and ordered her reinstated on the team. But then the Third U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals agreed and ruled the Supreme Court's landmark ruling and blah, 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 said it doesn't apply to off-campus speech. And limits the disciplinary reach of school administrators. So for some reason, it went all the way up. I don't know what was happening. I guess the school was still resisting. And it went all the way to the Supreme Court. And it said, while it doesn't agree with the Third Circuit's reasoning, it does agree the school's disciplinary action violated the First Amendment. The justices stopped short of setting a broad, highly general First Amendment rule, stating just what counts as off-campus speech. But basically, they said that she should not be punished for something she says or does, I guess, like off campus if it's free speech. Now it would be different if it's like if you're harassing someone, like if you are picking on them, it's like bullying. That's totally different. Like if you are being nasty and a monster to someone off the school property over like social media and all that they, I believe is still considered harassment, and then that's not free speech.
Yeah.
And so she can be in trouble for something like that, but she wasn't doing that.
Yeah, this is a different article than the one I read, but they went on to make specific notices that schools should watch out for like you said, bullying, and even if they were attacking school policies, that the school could take action based on that. But in this case, it was just basically her venting. She didn't make any threats.
No.
She didn't, she said some colorful words, but like it was if anything, notify the parents and let the parents take care of it. Yeah. Is basically what the court was saying. Like, this is more of a parent's jurisdiction than the schools.
And I mean, it's true. I mean, like, and some people will say, well, when students are in school, they don't have any rights. It's not true. They do have rights, and freedom of speech, is a right. And if it's not hate speech, if it's not bullying, like you said, like, then why can't she say that? It's not like she was posting this on school campus. But the other point of this too, is that this should be a huge lesson to her, that social media is not a place to air your grievances. You don't ever do that. Like, you don't know how many times I've tried to tell my students, stay off of social media when you're like, if you want to post pictures of cute kittens or, funny dogs or whatever, great, but don't be, complaining about something or saying it, because it's once it's there, it's always there. Snapchat only lasts for 24 hours, but people can take screenshots.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, so it's like you once you put something up on social media, you just assume that it's there forever.
Yeah, I mean, you can delete a tweet, but somebody can take a screenshot, and it happens all the time.
Yeah.
So I think this is generally a good thing and a win for schools in general, because it limits their scope of observance. If the Supreme Court had ruled that the school was well within its rights and it can basically take action on anything students say anywhere just because of their student, that would be dangerous, because I think, one, it would give the school a little bit too much power, but it would also give the school too much responsibility, because if the Supreme Court ruled that the schools, have a responsibility and the ability to react to speech anywhere, that means that schools are going to have to keep an eye on that somehow. And who's going to do that?
You have to hire someone just to monitor social media accounts. Oh my God.
Can you imagine that? And then that would lead to, because it wouldn't be physically, it would be physically very difficult for someone to like keep monitoring that. So then it would lead to schools, companies developing software that would reach out and look at all these kids' accounts and report it back to the school.
Yeah.
So that would be the next thing that would happen
That's
if they
like
aren't already building
now
it.
it's the tablet in the back of the Uber.
Yeah, and they would just it, yeah, it would just be a mess, and it students, people in general, just need a bit of freedom. Like
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't be all, like should I'm trying to give a reference of something that it doesn't have to do with social media, because social media is somewhat new, even though it's not really that new. It's been like 20 years maybe. But something that would have been an issue like 50 years ago, what about like public graffiti? Is sort of similar to that. I go and spray paint the town bridge. Should the school suspend me?
Right, because you didn't do it during school time. You
But
didn't do
it
it,
reflects poorly on the school.
But it was just
What if
yeah.
I went to the bridge and wrote, fuck, fuck
Principal Jones,
well, not that's an individual, but in this case it would have been like, fuck cheerleading, or
fuck Del Valle, or yeah.
not even the
whole
individual
school.
school.
Oh.
Because right, her message was just like fuck cheerleading,
Yeah.
fuck the school.
Yeah, you're
fuck
right. It was
school
in general. Yeah.
It wasn't even like I hate this one particular school.
Right.
It wasn't even that specific.
It's interesting.
Any more thoughts?
No, I think you hit it all. I think that the bottom line is that she shouldn't have been suspended for the whole fucking year from being on the teams. That was kind of bullshit. And I don't
think anything should have happened.
Right. I'm just saying that I think what should have happened was the parents should have been notified and said, this is really inappropriate. Can you please speak to your daughter? Blah, blah, blah.
I guess, but maybe not even that. Like, go back to the graffiti thing.
Well, they
right?
but they have to give a reason why they don't want her on the. Like, I mean, if they want to punish her, if they want to like.
I'm saying they shouldn't be able to. Because it didn't
But
have
that's
anything
not
to do with
punishing
school.
her. They're just asking the parents to speak to her.
Wait, what? I'm confused now.
If they just asked the parents to speak to their daughter about the appropriateness of what she says online.
Why should they even be doing that? Why should they be doing anything?
No, that's true.
I should be able to see my principal in the grocery store and give them the finger, and and nothing should happen.
That's not gonna happen though.
Free speech.
Mm-hmm.
Free speech.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to see that one get worked around. Well, shit, that's not what I want to do. Damn it. Oh, I messed something up here. So one thing that I will, I can't put a dirt. Oh wait, maybe I can do it this way.
You can't put a dirt.
Nope, I can't do it. I accidentally hit paste instead of copy, and so now the link to the article is going to be gone. So I'm just going to we won't send the link to the article, but we'll just talk about it. I think everyone knows it's going. Just don't worry about it. So really, so the condo that collapsed in Florida. I think it was on Monday, maybe Monday or Tuesday. Was that long ago? I don't remember. But it's. I mean, I know everyone's heard about it. This is really, really sad. The thing is that some stuff starting to come out about it. So of course they're still considering it a rescue operation. They're still trying to find people, but the developers of the condo, right? They got accused once of paying off local officials to get permits for the site, which needed $15 million in repairs just to bring it to code. A new report says.
$15 million.
In repairs to bring it to code, yeah. So, so this is going back to when it was first built.
Wow.
And it says building rivals. So, you got to take that for what it's worth, right? This is somebody else in the business that's like, speaking poorly of the company.
Like another developer?
Yeah. Claimed that the partners behind Surfside Champlain Towers South were receiving preferential treatment when it came to getting through the permit system as the site was being built in 1981. They contributed to campaigns of at least 2 town council members, then demanded that the donations be returned when the allegations surfaced. So here's the thing. So this tower, so it's 12 stories, right? And they were on the verge of undergoing $15 million in renovations in order to pass the required 40-year certification when it collapsed. So there's a 30, oh, Kit, I think you're right. I think it was Thursday because I think it was, I remember the boss was in Florida on Wednesday. And then I remember seeing that and sending him a text like, holy crap, get out of Florida. You're right. So so it was I heard about this that there was like the inspectors. So apparently in Florida your buildings have to get inspected every 40 years. I'm like, that seems like an awful long time. Again, great. Move to Florida if you want to.
Isn't Florida where like you only have to get your car inspected once or something?
Yeah,
too?
you don't get, yeah, I think it's just when you buy your car. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
noticed the trend here.
Yeah. So they're not good with upkeep. So the problem is I also heard, I was listening to this in the news a couple times, so they were saying that apparently back in 2018, I think it was, there was a contractor, an inspector, whatever, came to look over the building to do like, I guess like a different type of inspection. I guess they have to have like a yearly inspection, but it's very, very minor, not this like giant 40-year thing. But the problem was is that the guy said, he wrote up in his report, so there's a swimming pool there at this place. I'm not sure if it's indoors or if it's outdoors. I think it's outdoors. And he said that there's some kind of like coating that goes on underneath the swimming pools and all that was basically disintegrating, and that would have to be completely like basically ripped up and redone. And that if it wasn't treated, that these cracks could happen, and they could have problems with leakage into like the underground, basically the foundation area of this building, and that water could cause not erosion, but like basically you have like a constant water. It is sort of erosion, but like then like it would endanger the structural integrity and stuff like that. So that was in the report, and then they got ready for their big 40-year review. And I guess the structural, inspectors or whatever was like, this has to be done. This is $15 million worth of repairs in order to make sure that it was brought up to code. And then it collapsed. And then I heard another one saying, because they're kind of speculating right now because they haven't been able to really investigate to look for a cause as because they're just trying to recover people right now, rescue people. And somebody said that because it was literally right on the beach pretty much in Florida, that one of the problems that can happen, something to do with like if you haven't sealed it correctly. So there's the rebar that goes inside the concrete that like helps like keep it like, steady and solid and structurally sound. And that if it's not treated the right way when it's being put in, that it can get like start to rust, and like that will continue in the concrete. Like once it gets like, I guess, tainted or whatever.
It's not like properly dried, maybe. Or
well, I mean, you're right there on the ocean, and it's Florida. How much humidity? Like, I don't know if anything would be completely dry. So they were saying that was also a possibility. So
yeah,
it's,
I did a little bit of concrete work here with our friend, and yeah, there's like a curing process that's involved. So I don't know if it's something to do with that.
Yeah, it could be. So yeah, so it was really bad. And then it says the developers behind the project had included this one guy, Nathan Reber, who is a Polish-born Canadian. He was charged with tax evasion and cited for legal misconduct in Canada too. So I mean, shady shit all around. So it's a little. Oh, and then it says he had died in 2014. He'd been accused of skimming cash from apartment buildings that he and his partners owned. But I mean, that's another whole story. The problem is that this building has been apparently questionable for a while, and there's a twin sister of this building a few blocks away, and I believe the mayor of oh my gosh, is it Miami? I'm sorry, I have to look this up again. The mayor of Miami, yes, said that he wanted the people in that other tower, the sister tower, which was built at the same time, evacuated. He's like, no, don't take any chances. Yeah, I would be gone too, for real. I wouldn't need the mayor to tell me to get out. But it's just, yeah. I mean, this is how do you?
Right on the beach, you said too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And so, it's kind of like horrifying because these people who are all involved in this construction, like, how do you live with yourself when something like this happens? Although a couple of them are dead, apparently, like died before this, of whatever causes. But in 2018, here it is. In 2018, the condos, meaning the other one too, were cited for major structural damage by a consulting firm hired by the Buildings Association to conduct repairs. The main issue, this is what I was talking about, was poor drainage of a pool deck that sat atop a parking garage at the site. So that is problematic, big time. And it says failure to replace waterproofing in the near future will cause the extent of the concrete deterioration to expand exponentially. That's what I heard. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, the first phase of the work was consisted of roof repairs, had begun when, at 1:30 in the morning on Thursdays when it collapsed. Like, wow. And I feel so bad because like the people are, I mean, this is just, that's no way to die. My God. I mean, if you looked at the pictures of this building too, it looked a lot like, it reminded me of the bombing in Oklahoma City. I mean, this wasn't a bombing. This is just complete structural collapse because of shoddy workmanship. But it looks like a war zone. And of course, they're still searching for anyone that might be alive. But I imagine that it starts to get less and less hopeful. There's something like, I think they're up to 9 people dead, and there's like 150 plus people still unaccounted for. And I did see a story about someone, their phone. So there was their grandparents lived in the building, and they've gotten 15 phone calls from their grandparents' landline, but it's nothing but static. So I think that would be hopeful that maybe they were calling, maybe that they're trapped and they're trying to use their phone, but they, the phone's not working, or whatever, right? I don't know.
Yeah, static sounds weird.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. Yeah. So, jeez. And I can't imagine being in a building that's collapsing. My God, that's just terrible. So, to lighten the mood a little bit, we did talk a couple of weeks ago about this weird thing where friends were starting to get married to each other. Like 2 women got married to each other just because they wanted to be supportive, or whatever. It's not like,
We're friends that got married.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't think it's quite the same thing, We wound up becoming more than friends. These are people who are just friends. I remember we talked about this a while ago. But apparently these platonic marriages can be very dangerous legally. So,
Why?
this is interesting, right? So it says, so there are people that are starting to get married in a platonic fashion, swearing never to leave each other for better or for worse, right? Well, these are non-conjugal couples, right? Well, the problem is that you can get married for a host of reasons, right? They may not believe in the traditional heterosexual family or whatever. They might, be able to receive family benefits or whatever, but friendship is not recognized by law. And only a handful of states allow friends to gain legal recognition through registration as domestic partners. Any 2 consenting adults, regardless of their genders, can get married in the US. 2 friends, therefore, can pretty easily pull it off, but they can't admit they're only friends. Legally speaking, it could be seen as a sham marriage. For this reason, 2 friends who tie the knot and receive a marriage certificate can still face considerable risks. They expose themselves to criminal sanctions, and civil penalties on grounds of marriage fraud if a federal or state agency becomes suspicious of the union. And they may also be denied benefits usually granted to married couples. So,
What's the suspicion?
that they're not romantically involved. Apparently, you cannot get married just for platonic reasons. You can't just be friends. You have to be romantically involved, apparently.
I've known married people that don't have sex.
I've known a lot of married people who can't stand each other and still stay married.
Right, so I don't, stupid.
I think because when a marriage takes place, at the very beginning, it's understood that they're in love with each other or whatever. It's rare that they're like, or...
I don't think it needs to be that, to be honest.
Well, I'm just telling you, this is federal law. They could face civil...
What's the law, though?
So it says here, let's see. I think what is, yes, I think what's going on is that they are, it's not so much that being married as just friends is breaking the law as much as the benefits that go along with that. Like looking for
Friends with
like
benefits.
yeah, right. Looking for like sharing health care and
Well,
stuff
I'm
like
sure that's
that.
exactly what they're looking for.
That's the criminal aspect right there.
But
Yeah.
why?
Or to get a tax exemption. That's
Right, but that's what they're doing it, right? What's to say
yes,
that we didn't do that for that
right.
reason?
The courts acknowledge that there are many reasons that may motivate a person's decision to marry that aren't romantic, such as, filing in jointly to gain tax exemptions. So therefore, the courts look at whether there is what they call a specific illicit purpose. So a judge wrote in his ruling in a case about a couple that fraudulently got married to gain a housing allowance. It is not the absence of a perfect or ideal love, honor, and cherished motivation of the parties that renders the consequences flowing from the appellant's actions in the case before us criminal. Rather, it is the affirmative presence of a singularly focused illicit one, an intent to fraudulently acquire a government payment stream. So it's not that they weren't in love, that's not the thing that's the problem, but that they're trying, so they got married so that they, in this couple's case, could get like a special housing allowance, like to get special housing, and that's the fraud. So they committed fraud
Why?
because it's supposed to be two married couples who are like, supposedly being like married like for, regular like marriage reasons, and they weren't.
I still feel like that's a little sticky.
Well, the judge came up
Yeah,
with it.
I sort of get what they're getting at, but like
They have to demonstrate before courts that they did not have a singularly focused illicit purpose of acquiring some sort of government benefit. But apparently it's a hard thing to do because courts seek to understand whether the couple intended to live together as husband and wife. They'll be assuming the family norm in which the couple has a sexual relationship. Since there is no romantic relationship, judges will likely default to arguing that the friends got married only to game the system.
so you're not supposed to get married for the benefits, but you're supposed to get married so you can have those benefits.
You get married because of love, and then you get benefits for doing
So
that.
a lot of people don't get married for love.
I'm just telling you what
I
their
know,
point is.
I'm just saying, like it's pretty hairy.
So, there's a group. So now they're talking about the constitutional level. There's one decision that might lend some hope to the non-conjugal couples. So it's the Department of Agriculture versus Moreno. So the Moreno case concerned a group of impoverished, unrelated people living under the same roof who at some point were denied food stamps by the government. The government argued that its goal was fraud prevention. In its view, households with unrelated people, such as friends, are more likely to commit fraud to illegally obtain government benefits. The Supreme Court, however, ruled in favor of the household in 1972. It concluded that minimizing fraud is a valid interest, but that the government could do so through other more specific measures instead of just denying benefits to a whole group of people. But they said there were two problems with that, right? So it's a precedent for opening the door to allow two friends to marry. First, the outcome was largely driven by what the Supreme Court deemed the cynical motives of the legislature, which in amending the law had singled out hippies as undeserving of food stamps. Second, it isn't about marriage per se. It's about who can gain access to one specific legal benefit, food stamps. So that's interesting, yeah. But there's, and it goes on, the article is a little bit,
maybe it brings up a slightly different question. Oh, you have some schmutz on the middle of your monitor there.
I know, it's annoying me. Thank you for announcing it to the world.
You're welcome.
Ugh.
Here, it brings up maybe another question. There are certain benefits that married people get. I don't think we're talking about as much like hospital visitation rights and things like that. It sounds like we're talking more about like, well, they said food stamps, maybe tax reductions, things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
The question is, maybe, is it right that we offer those benefits only to married people?
Well, I'm I don't know. I mean, like, why? Kevin's laughing at me because I just muted ourselves for a brief second so I could scream at our dog who was like mauling the other one and being very loud. Um, I don't know. I mean, because this is sort of like where you were with like a gay couple, right? You know, like, or a lesbian couple, whatever. I mean, that they finally won the right to be married as well. So you're talking about tax credits, you're talking about food stamps, you get more if you're married, I guess. I don't know.
Well, what I'm saying is the problem the reverse here, that like these people who are not in love, right, feel the need or desire to get married. Are we saying that
well, the one
only people who are in love should get these benefits? That's what I'm saying. Like, why do we offer these benefits? Why do we give reductions to people who are married, blah, blah, that we don't give to people who are not married? Maybe that's part of the problem.
Well, I mean, if you have children, you have tax credits. You can get tax write-offs.
Children, yes, but if you're a platonic couple, you're not having children, right? I'm
well,
assuming.
you might adopt, or you might have sex with somebody else and get pregnant and have that child.
As a platonic couple?
Not with. So what if like you and I were platonic, right?
Okay.
And that's all we're doing, and then like I don't know, I went out and was sleeping around with somebody, and I got pregnant, and I came back, and like that guy didn't want anything to do with me, so I give birth, and now we've got a kid in this house. It's kind of our kid, even though it's not. But that could very easily happen.
Now you're like a family unit, okay?
Yeah.
But you get benefits for having a kid whether you're married or not.
Right.
So I'm just talking about marriage. Let's forget about kids for a moment.
Well, you were saying why not give it? Why do people get like specific benefits for being married or whatever? Then why shouldn't everybody have it? Well, my point was as well. People who have children get specific benefits, but people who don't. So why not give it to everybody? Isn't that what your point was?
Well, no, having a child is a specific responsibility. Getting married doesn't necessarily give you a second responsibility.
Yeah, but you just said that everyone should be able to get these benefits whether they're married or not. Right?
The marriage benefits.
Right. So what are you seeing as just marriage benefits?
Whatever they're looking to get. Whatever they're looking to get. Why are people getting married that are not in love? Because they want some benefits, right?
Well,
that's exactly
what the government is saying. But apparently some people will get married because they just want to know that there's always somebody there for them or whatever, which I think is an odd thing. But I mean, whatever.
Like making yourselves super best friends?
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
I thought it was more about benefits.
The article that we read before this, the one that we brought up,
was better, yeah.
Was about it wasn't this. It was this one is going further and saying that these people are in legal jeopardy. Right. The article we read before was just about why they were doing it. Yeah. And I remember the two women said that they, neither one, was interested in the other one. I think one was actually gay. The other one's not, maybe. I don't know. Anyhow, and they didn't want to, they wanted to make sure there was, that we're always there for you. Well, you just said it, like when you're, oh yeah, that's the one right there.
It was the first link in the article.
Oh, that's cool. So the thing is that, I'm looking at it right now. I want her to continue to be my best friend and my life partner. And the besties, they're both queer. They're open to dating anyone but each other. They decided to get married. They sleep in the same bed, but their relationship remains platonic. They did it because they wanted to be legally and socially recognized as a family. We wanted the world to know we are each other's go-to person in the world and to be able to handle legal matters with the other appropriately. So, I mean, I get that part. Like if, cause like we've seen like where, like if somebody doesn't have, like, remember when Philip was in the hospital and like they were, they wouldn't talk to a lot, they wouldn't say a lot of things or whatever. Like he had to like sign off that I'm the one that, signed him in or whatever. So they would talk to me. I mean, I do have, what the hell is that called? I have his like basically legally signed documented thing that I'm his voice basically. Yeah, no, not custodian, but similar. So I mean, so there's that, but like I guess if you're single and if you aren't if you don't have any like family members around or whatever, like so like me, right? So I mean Philip would probably be my guy, but like if Philip wasn't around, right? I mean, my family, like, I guess eventually my sister, but she doesn't live that close. And so I have no other family, right? So who would I go to for like the next of kin, the one to like make decisions for me and all that? And even if you have your family nearby, maybe you don't trust them. Like maybe fuck that. I'm not gonna have my mom, be able to, say pull the plug because she's been annoyed with me for years or whatever. You know what I mean? So I guess if they don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or anybody in there, and these women were just in their early 20s, that seems a little young to start that. But I mean, hey, you never know. So I mean,
Well, maybe there is reason to provide a way to do this without getting married then. Like, right? If you want to preserve marriage to
well,
people who are in love, provide a means to get to this
well,
scenario without being married.
in Pennsylvania, if you live with somebody for I think it's 7 years, 6 years, maybe it's five, you're considered common law husband and wife without having done any like marriaging, without having actually been married or anything like that. I don't know if the same is true for gay couples though.
Right. But what I'm saying is some of the things like that they're asking for, like ability to have like legal
Right.
authority or whatever. Maybe there should be a way that you can like say, okay, we're gonna have legal authority with each other, similar to people that are married, but we're not married. It's just that.
Well, that's what. So,
Yeah.
and Kit just said 7 years for common law marriage. So that's just that. That's a common law marriage. It's not legally binding, but like you can actually use that.
Right, but
It's not legally binding, like you don't have any like signed like document, like you don't have to be married if you don't want to be, but it gives you the legal right to
I mean,
help the
it
other
seems
person or
similar to what
whatever.
I'm talking about, but it doesn't require a bunch of time to get to that point.
Wow, maybe they need that much time to make sure that that's what they really
I'm just saying, like
But
I
yeah,
have my
well,
best friend, and I want to
well,
be able to go.
so Kit just made a really good point. She goes, "It's called a living will. If you're that worried about what happens to you, you make a living will, and that's you assign who is in charge. There, you don't have to fucking live with somebody and be married to them for that.
I think that's only for when you die. Will only goes into effect when you die.
A living will. A living will means like if you wind up on like life support and like what's supposed to happen,
Oh,
and
you're
that
just about
person
to
has
die.
that decision. Yes,
Okay, so
that's what a living will
that
is.
covers a part of it, sure. But there must be something else that these people want, right?
I don't know what benefits do we get being married. I guess they can pull our credit scores
I
together
don't
for
know.
something. I mean, like if you wanted to buy a house, it's probably easier if you're married.
Yeah, I don't know that you can. Can you sign? I guess you can have a loan with anyone else, the same way whether you're married or not. It doesn't matter, right? Can you just buy a house with somebody, your friend?
I think you can, but I think it's much more scrutinized. I think it's much more difficult. I think it's, you know, I think you're a partner then. So,
I guess you could be a corporation, have a business,
mm.
uh, be business partners.
so,
Anyways,
so like Kit said, you could have a living will, so they don't need to be married for that. Um, they don't need. I mean, maybe they want to be married to buy a house together. It's a lot easier. But what other, I mean, there's no other, you don't get like tax write-off benefits unless you have a kid. So I don't know what that is. And food stamps, maybe you get some more. I don't know. But like that's really barely, that's not really gaming the system. You're trying to game the system to get more food stamps. God bless you. Just give it to them. I mean, like, so I don't know what this
there's
is
definitely tax, like
benefits.
you definitely get money off in your taxes when you're filing together and all that.
Hmm.
You can do married filing jointly. You can't do like friends filing jointly.
Is
That's
it
not a
worth
thing.
that though? I mean, like how much money? Is this like thousands of dollars or?
Probably. Yeah.
I don't know. Seems a bit much to me.
I don't know exactly because I just
Well,
use the software to do it, but
right. Well, the food stamps thing isn't right because Kit said that you don't just because you're married doesn't mean you get more. So I don't know what the hell their point is. Whatever.
I don't know.
I mean, I could live with my best friend and I wouldn't feel like I'd have to be married. Like if you kick the bucket tomorrow or whatever, and then Philip kicks Jonathan out, we could probably live together again. I might kill him because he's very messy, but I mean, not in a romantic way, just like, to make
So you're gonna kill
things
me and then you're gonna
easier.
kill him? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and then I'll collect both of your wills. I know I'm the sole like beneficiary of his stuff, so fuck. Get rid of you too. Oh, and then Kit says she got a bigger tax credit as a widow last year than she did this year as head of household. This is insane. It's just the tax rules are so fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry. I just can't. Well, we're going to end on a funny one. And I know you didn't see this one, Kevin. I didn't say anything to you about it, but this is killing me here. This happened in Dixon City, by the way. So Dixon City is, yes. God, I just got his attention now. So the title of this article is Pennsylvania Police Break Up Exorcism in Home Depot Lumber Aisle. So he's sitting back, not paying attention. I'm like, no, this is Dixon City. This is like near Scranton. This is like the one we've been in. Like we were just there and got plants not that long ago. So you got to listen to this. Straight out of a Conjuring movie, police in Lackawanna County. Okay, this is hysterical. Police in Lackawanna County announced they broke up a reported exorcism that happened inside a Home Depot in Dixon City on Tuesday. According to a Dixon City Police Department Facebook post, the paranormal incident happened around 3:26 p.m. on Monday, when police were called to reports of disorderly people in the store's lumber aisle. Once they arrived, police say a group was reportedly performing an exorcism for the dead trees within the aisle. The group was later escorted out by police and no arrests were announced.
Nice.
So first off, aside from the fact that this is Dixon City, like literally like a 45-minute hour drive from us, aside from that, you also have the fact that they were conducting an exorcism for lumber, for trees, for dead trees.
Wait, dead trees are not exactly lumber?
So they were in the lumber aisle though. So here's my problem with this, right? So the issue is that you have this like ridiculous, so an exorcism clearly is when supposedly a person is possessed by a demon, right? And so then the demon doesn't want to leave, and so you conduct an exorcism, which usually requires a priest, a Catholic priest, and like all, you guys have seen The Exorcist, right? Like, come on.
A rabbi.
Right. But so the fact that they're trying to do an exorcism in the lumber yard, in the lumber aisle on trees, I don't think they ever saw The Exorcist. I don't think they understand that. I don't think the lumber is inhabited by demon spirits. Like, and also if you kick the demon out, it's still just gonna be plain old wood. Like the tree's not gonna come back to life. I'm very confused by all of this. Oh my God. That is too funny.
Wow.
Oh, and so Kevin, if you have Facebook, Kevin just clicked on a link that takes you to the, and I'll put the link.
It's just the link in the article.
Yeah, it's the link in the article, but this is like, I guess the Dixon City Police Department list their calls, like, for like, all day. So it's like June 21st, 2021 at 12:06 a.m. assist to Scranton Police and they blah, 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 right? And it goes all the way through to 11:10 p.m., right? Well, somewhere in the middle there at 3:26 on Commerce Boulevard at Home Depot for disorderly people having an exorcism in the lumber aisle for the dead trees. They were escorted out of the building. 352 Ravine Street and Business Route 6 for a vehicle crash. Yeah, it's just like matter of fact right in there with all the rest of them. Oh, geez. Oh, yeah, we have a haunted lumber house. Yeah, so it's got to get out. They were doing a public service because if somebody bought that particular lumber and used it to build their house, the house would be haunted.
Oh, that's a good point.
You'd have to burn it to the ground.
It would have demons. That'd be cool.
Oh, that could be cool. They'd probably run scared from us. Are you speechless?
Demon studs in your walls.
Demon studs in my walls. Oh, so on that note, that like nice little light-hearted thing, because we didn't have anything very funny tonight. We'll have to make up for that next time. But yeah, how much sage? I think you'd need like the entire, like, I don't know, Amazon stockpile of sage or something for that one. To the lumber aisle. Oh, I wish I'd been a fly on the wall and been able to see that. That would have been funny. Could you imagine like walking down the aisle, like looking for something, and you stop and you see this, and they're like saging the lumber, and you're like, fuck.
I don't know how many people showed up to do this.
I don't know. It was a group of people, bunch of tree huggers. No, I don't know. Oh my God. So
local coven or something?
Yeah, right. No, witches wouldn't have better sense. These are dumbasses, probably high on something.
Sage.
Yeah, high on sage. Yeah. But with that, our time tonight is already at a close. And oh yeah, again, the garden center for the real plants. And thanks for listening. So again, next week and the week after, we will not be on because next week is the 4th of July. And the following week, we will be in Nantucket on vacation. And so tune in for tomorrow night for the ladies' night, Monday at 8 o'clock. And I think that's about everything. So we'll see you in, I guess, 3 weeks from now. Right? Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for listening, and I hope you all have a great night and a great rest of your week.
Toodaloo.
Toodaloo. Yes.
Don't make fun of me.
I have to make